Boom. We are live, bro.
What's
Okay.
up? What's up? What's up?
All right. So, why don't you tell me how was your week this week?
Man, not
On a
not
scale
too
of 1 to
shabby.
10.
I'd say a solid like 7.5.
7.5. All right.
All things
Yeah.
considered. How's about you?
Yeah. I'd say that I'd say if 5 is medium to where it was very uneventful, I'd say mine was about a 6. It's not a 6 because bad stuff happened. It's a 6 because it was, if anything, a little bit boring. So usually I have a lot of stuff that I need to do. Usually I find myself um, very active, I guess.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, this week just kind of fell apart. And so, yeah, I found myself with a lot of downtime and a lot of not being able to leave early because of what other people might think kind of stuff. I
Mm,
do have
mm.
a you can work from home aspect of my job, and people kind of give you crap if you do
So
that too much.
we get
So,
a day a month that we get to work from home.
okay.
Well, my scheduled day was Monday. So when I rolled up to the office on Monday, everybody's like, "What are
Yeah.
you doing?"
Yeah.
What do you mean? What am I doing? It's your work from home day. I've already got the kid at daycare. I'm already here.
Yeah.
It's too
It's
late.
like I'm saving that for Friday, and
Yeah.
I am.
I better get like a rain check on this work from
Yeah,
home
like
day.
who in their right mind would do that on a Monday? You know? Unless you were like super hungover from Sunday.
If I could just
But
remember more than a goldfish, then maybe I would have.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no,
So
overall not too bad.
yeah, that's good. That's good. For me personally, one of the things that happened for me was I had an incident at work that could have been my fault, and then upon further investigation of the scenario, I found out it was not my fault. It was
Well, that's good.
actually a manufacturer error. So that was, oh man, I
That
was
helps
I
a
was
lot.
having trouble. Yeah, I was having trouble sleeping. It was on my mind all night long. I woke up in the morning in a really bad mood. I was just like, if this is my fault, I'm going to be so disappointed in myself. Like, even my manager wasn't even that concerned, but as a aspect of who I am,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not saying that I'm a perfectionist. I'm just saying that I take pride in the
yeah,
fact
yeah.
that I don't make a lot of mistakes. And
Nothing
so,
wrong with that.
yeah, and so when I heard that, because I actually got the call at like 10:30 p.m. I got the call
Woof.
that there was something wrong. And so I am just freaking out. So anyway, long story short, I found out it wasn't my fault. I found out that it was a manufacturer error, and it's just such a relieving feeling
Oh
knowing
yeah.
that all the hard work and the attention to detail that you put into your job, and then when something bad happens, it wasn't your fault because you know that you go the extra mile to do the right thing and to give the job 110%,
Oh yeah.
So it's
I
just
feel
kind of
that.
like it's like a life lesson for me to just know that my hard work and my attention to detail actually matters and pays off. So that was a cool thing that happened this week.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've definitely had moments like that at my job.
Yeah.
It's like a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely, definitely.
what are we talking about tonight? What
So
is our topic?
the topic today is hobbies. Okay? And
Hobbies.
this is our hobbies, okay? This is stuff that we find interesting. This is stuff that we've done. This is stuff that we want to do. This is stuff that we've done research on, and and this is even stuff that like you've seen other people do and you're interested, but you don't see yourself doing it. It's kind of like a car, right? For me personally, I like JDM style cars, right? I like the way they look. Honestly, you were the one that really got me into even caring
Hey.
about how cars even look, because to me they just all look like cars. Now every time I see a Civic, I'm just like, you know what I mean? But anyway, it's like that versus a truck. Now, a guy that puts 10 grand into his lift kit with big giant tires and can go off roading, or the guy that has a Cadillac with those really tiny wheels that can, make it jump. I mean, both of those are people that are passionate about what they care about,
Yeah.
and they put time and effort into it to make it look nice. And I admire that, but for me personally, I wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
Cuz it's just not something that I would be interested in. But it's
But you
nice to
can
see
respect it.
somebody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Respect somebody like
So,
taking that passion and really
exactly.
going for it.
And so this episode is going to be about hobbies not only that we do, not only that we want to do, but just also hobbies that we've seen happen that we admire, not just the dedication, but the time and effort that it takes to achieve either that level of skill or that level of collection or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's what the topic is. So yeah, I think the first thing would be what we have found interesting.
Yeah.
So I'll let you take it.
Well,
Aaron, what is a couple of hobbies that you have found interesting?
man, I've gotten into all sorts of stuff. I kind of consider myself a hobbyist. I do too
Mm-hmm.
many things. I try to get into everything. My wife hates it.
Definitely.
They all
Definitely
cost
hates it.
money. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but man, like recently, one of the things I've been spending the most of my time doing is trying to use my camera.
Mm-hmm.
got into a digital, mirrorless camera. Okay, I got some lenses. Trying to get into photography. Trying to make videos. Obviously, trying to do this. Trying to learn
Mm-hmm.
and grow and develop that hobby. So that's one thing that I've been doing recently. That's been spent like kind of taking up a bunch of my time, and that's kind of how it goes. It's like pick
Mm-hmm.
up a new hobby, try to grow and learn as much as I can, and then maybe like some hobbies kind of dwindle off and like get forgotten about. Some of them continue on forever. Um,
Definitely.
I mean, like us, we've played Magic for. I think you got me into Magic, in fact,
Mm-hmm.
and that was 10 years ago ish.
Yeah,
You know,
about for sure.
it's
Yeah.
been a minute. It's been a fat minute,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully, photography is one of those ones that sticks with me for a long time. I've been
Yeah,
really enjoying
definitely.
it.
What are some hobbies that you've either seen or experienced, or like somebody has told you about that they do, that you just think, if I had all the time in the world, like we're talking no job, no responsibilities, if I had all the time in the world and I could just dabble a little bit in this hobby, what are some like that you've come across in your lifetime?
So I'm gonna mention two that I can think off the top of my head, and they're polar opposites
Mm-hmm.
as far as like how much they cost, how much time. I mean, I don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
the first one, I don't know if it counts as a hobby, but it would count as a hobby for me. I would think is racing cars,
Okay.
whatever that is. I
Right.
really like kind of the I don't know what you call it, like street circuit kind of style
Right.
racing. Um, I would love if I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything else to do. I could just work on my race car all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Had money to do it. That'd be the dream.
Yeah,
I've
definitely.
seen a lot of people do it. I watch people on YouTube. And again, as you stated, we've been into cars now for a minute, and
Yeah.
I think that would be a really enjoyable one. The other one would be miniature painting for like
Okay.
D&D or
Yeah.
40K or
Yeah.
miniature games like that.
Oh yeah.
I've dabbled in the past, but like I don't even count that
Mm-hmm.
because what I'm talking about is like when I watch the people that do it professionally and
Mm-hmm.
like the skills that they have and like the way they do things. I wasn't doing that. I took a paintbrush and kind of slapped it across this
Yeah.
little orc's face. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not miniature painting.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would love to get into that because it's just really time consuming. You got to have a lot of patience, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a lot of time on my hands, so I'm not very patient.
Yeah. Definitely,
What about
definitely.
you? What kind of hobbies have you been taking up? What have you and well, yeah, let's start with that. What kind of hobbies have you been doing lately?
Okay, so for me, and this is, it's not so much. Okay, it is a hobby, but it's mostly a collection. So for me, it's been retro games. So my goal is to have essentially everything from the original Nintendo
Okay.
forward until about the PS4 complete in box. So I have been looking on Facebook, Craigslist, eBay, um, OfferUp, all these different places, trying to find old school games complete in box. I'm and tell me if you relate to this because I feel like
Okay.
a lot of people do. If I'm gonna do something, I don't want to buy the medium entry because if I like it, I'm gonna want that higher entry, right?
Yeah.
So if I guess it's just one of those things where I don't want to buy a console for $200 and then later wish that I had the console complete in box and it's 400. I'm one of those people that's like, if I'm gonna go into this, I want to go into it 100%. And
Yeah.
so every single game that I've bought has been complete in box, has the original artwork on the cover, the original box that it was sold in, and the original manual that it came with. Now, the advertisements and all that other junk that comes with the game is kind of hit or miss. It I mean, if it's going to be technical, then yes, but I don't consider that technical. A lot of other collectors don't consider that technical. So so I have a Dreamcast, I have a Super Nintendo, I have a PlayStation 2, all complete in box. I have an Xbox, original Xbox, the big giant black one, complete in box, and I have a Wii 25th edition red model complete in box. And I mean, I've been looking at the Nintendo 64. I've been looking at the Sega Genesis. I recently picked up a Sega Genesis, and the only reason I picked it up was because it had the um, Sega CD attachment and the 32X attachment, which I mean, if you know, we can get into technicalities about all that, but essentially they were two physical add-ons
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
original Genesis system, and I got it for a very good price. I think I got it for like $75. And I was looking on eBay, I couldn't find any of them less for 300. So I was very lucky. This was a guy that just he happened to him and my his daughter and my daughter both went to school together. And so I went for a play date. I mentioned the retro games. He said he had some. We shook up a deal. He was
Hmm,
like, I haven't
nice.
even thought about these in 10 years, so here you go. And I was
That
like,
is the those are the when you find the deals too.
oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. So,
No, but I definitely agree with you though. Like getting into the hobbies and trying to like if you're gonna like it, go in 100% or
mhm,
get the nice stuff or whatever. I
yeah.
do the same thing. Again, my wife doesn't always agree with me, but I you
Well,
know
yeah. I mean, that Sega Gen or yeah, the Dreamcast was 400 on eBay. I mean, that's not a cheap entry, you know? And
yeah
so but that's what I'm saying is that I have a Nintendo 64 with no box. And the thing that's kind of frustrating is that with at least with this, um, it's very hard to find boxes by themselves. It's especially when you want not only the box, but you want all the cardboard inserts, you want all the original advertisement, you want the owner's manual, you want all that stuff included without the console because you don't want to pay for the console because you already have it. It's very hard to find that. So it's almost like a deterrent. Like if I see
yeah
one by itself, I don't want to buy it, even though I really want it. Like right now, I've been looking at Xbox 360 Gears of War edition. So the
Mm-hmm.
Xbox 360 came with a Gears of War special edition that is solid blood red with the it has a giant gear with a skull in the middle,
That's pretty
and
cool.
that's the Gears of War symbol. And
Yeah.
it comes, it just it looks so much different than all the other Xbox 360 because they were mostly white and black, and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one's crimson red, and it looks so sweet. The difference in price is like $75 because the 360 was a very successful console. Just like the PlayStation 2, they made millions of these. So
Yeah.
they're very easy to find. So you can find a complete in box Xbox 360 for like $100, $150. The Gears of War one, I'm looking at like 350, 375, which is a
Oof.
big jump,
It's like double. Yeah.
just for a colors change. But
Yeah.
that's the thing is that when I look at my systems, when I look at what I've spent time and money and effort and
Collecting.
research on, you want to like look at that and be proud. Like you want to look at that and say I have something that's unique, I have something that's different, and it means a little bit more than just the average collector. So I mean that's just the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So
No, I can agree
um
with that.
so then the next thing that I was going to ask is right now, what are some of the major hobbies that you are in? I know that you mentioned your camera,
Hmm.
which, we can go over that too. But are there any others other than the painting miniatures? Is there any other hobbies that you have really sunk a lot of time, money, effort, patience, just life into?
So I'd say one of my all-time favorite hobbies that I've done for maybe 10 years now is disc golf. Take it or leave it. Some people love it, some people don't. It is what
Definitely.
it is. It's super fun. Gets me outside. I get to enjoy nature,
Mm-hmm.
and I get to throw plastic with my friends.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
walk around the park. Lately, I've been taking the baby stroller. Because
Mm-hmm.
well, baby's got to go with me.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just it's kind of like I'd compare it to your recent endeavor with the whole retro gaming thing. In,
Mm-hmm.
in a way, like you're always on the lookout for something like unique and rare or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of I don't I haven't been looking for like old rare discs like signed by players or anything like that, but I'm always on the lookout for something kind of unique,
Mm-hmm.
custom dyed, maybe like a limited edition stamp from a tournament or a player
Mm-hmm.
winning signature series, whatever.
Yeah.
So I recently made myself a little rack. Uh, you can't really see it, but it's actually in the room behind me here. Probably got like 100 discs on it.
Mm.
I've just been
Mm-hmm.
buying them here and there, and I play a lot. So that's been one of
Yeah.
my all-time favorite hobbies. It's super
Yeah.
fun, super nice to just be outside. It's always depressing during the winter when I can't play.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about video games. That's your hobby. Boom. Summer, winter, don't matter.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, no, that's cool. So then I'll follow that up with this. What is, and it doesn't have to be the most expensive, but I'm just saying, what is a limited edition or special edition or like above average purchase that you've made, and did you stick with whatever hobby that was in?
Man, I don't know. Kind of. I've had a few that where I've
Yeah.
spent like maybe above average on something and then
Hmm.
either stuck with it or not. Photography, that's one of the ones where spent a little bit above average,
That is not
just
cheap, I'll tell you
just
what.
slightly. Yeah. But I've stuck
Yeah.
with it. I've been doing it for
Oh
a
yeah.
while. I actually had an older camera for a long time, and that's kind of how
Hmm.
I knew I was gonna stick with it because I
Yeah.
was still doing it. But then there was things like golf. I love golf, ball golf,
Hmm.
and I used to play a lot when I lived back home in California, and I've only played like twice since I've lived in Washington State. So that's probably been what,
Yeah.
12 years or something.
Yeah.
And so maybe 2 years ago or so, I went and I was watching a lot of golf, YouTube
Yeah.
videos, and I went and I bought like not a cheap driver, not a cheap bag.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I got some clubs from one of my friends at work. Have
Mhm.
not played a single time. I think I went to
Yeah.
the driving range maybe,
Mhm. Yeah.
and that feels bad. It's not because I didn't get into the hobby. It was just because I literally don't have time. I don't have free time, and when I do have free
100%.
time, it's limited what I can get into.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, there are definitely hobbies. I'm sure you'll agree with me. There are definitely hobbies that are easier to pick up and
oh
do
yeah,
than others. I mean, video editing, you sit at a computer, you do it. Disc golf, you have to plan it out. You have to have other people come mostly. You can't play by yourself, but you have to plan it out and you have to
yeah,
leave the house, which means that you can't be with your family. You can't, you know, do other responsibilities. There's a lot of things that come to, and that's why video games have been so easy for me, right?
hmm,
Is because I'm here. I can pause and go do whatever thing that I need to do around the house. I can pause and just go to the store if my wife needs me to, or
yeah,
pick up the
yeah,
kids or whatever. So one of the things that I've wanted to do really get into is paddleboarding. Like I
yeah,
do have a
yeah,
paddleboard and I do go every once in a while, but there are a lot of, I mean, and it's not so much like there's things that I want to do. I just enjoy paddleboarding. I
hmm,
enjoy being out on the water, being able to stand up and just enjoy the nature and the trees overhanging the river and being able to sit down on my knees and just paddle as fast as I can,
yeah,
when I'm going with the current, and then just laying down and just kicking back with some music and just listening to the water pass through the rocks. Like, it's such a great feeling. It's such a great experience. I love it. And so um but
uh oh,
when it comes to hobbies that I have gotten into and failed,
uh oh,
there have been a few over the years. Two of them in specific. One was Warhammer. I tried to get into Warhammer.
uh oh.
I didn't
Wait,
understand what.
I need to hear this story. I don't remember the Warhammer Endeavor.
Oh, dude, the Warhammer Endeavor was about $200 just down the drain
Oh
because
no.
I didn't realize. Okay, so I saw people playing.
Yeah,
I saw them pulling out their tape measures, looking through a book, rolling dice, and I'm like, dude, that looks sweet. It's like the closest you can get to having like a simulated war with
yeah,
futuristic and just crazy monsters with
yeah.
abilities and stats and all this stuff. It's just really cool looking, right? So I went and I bought $150 miniature starter kit. Then somebody explained to me that an army is way more expensive than just this little box that I bought. And so I
Uh,
was looking at them and I'm like, oh my goodness, some of these are like $300,
yeah.
to be competitive.
Let me. So you need like 1,000 point army or something. It's
Yeah.
based on points, right?
Oh, I mean, honestly, after I saw the price tag on it, I kind of pushed it off to the side.
Do you
So
still
I
have
don't
those
know.
miniatures?
No, I sold them for like $50. I bought them
No,
for like 150, and then I sold
no.
it for like I know, dude. Oh, I felt so bad. I was so angry with myself because it's just one of those things you just jump into it too quick.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see it and it's so enticing that you think, you know. I mean, my only hobby that I really rely on price tag is Magic. You can buy a $20 deck and yeah, you won't be able to beat like a $1,500 deck, but if it's built correctly with a little bit of luck in your draws, like you can be competitive with, $200 or $300 decks. Like that's not uncommon.
Yeah,
I
I'm
kind of
familiar.
thought that that's yeah, I kind of thought that was the the deal with this. And so I'm like, oh yeah, 150 bucks. I'll play with the guys and we'll just slowly build up over time. And then they're like, oh yeah, you can't even compete with us. You can't, like, you literally can't even play because like it's not even fair.
Speaking of 40K though, like that is one that I would dream of doing as well. Like if I
Yes.
had time, like I guess going along with my miniature thing, like how I would really
Hmm.
like to get into that. Well, I don't want to just look at them. I want to play a game.
Yeah,
I want to
definitely.
play D&D or 40K or something, and so man,
Hmm.
that'd be a dream someday when I have
Definitely.
too much time.
Yeah. All right. When I'm 60 and retired, I'll be painting my miniatures.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and then so and this is going to sound so random when I tell you cuz I don't even think you know.
Oh boy.
Being my best friend, it's like we tell each other a lot, but I don't think I told you this,
Oh, this is
but
gonna be juicy.
yeah. Okay, so there was a channel that I came across
Oh no.
that this person was making LARPing equipment for Comic Con.
Oh dude, I'm sold. This is amazing. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do it.
And they were making it out of this stuff called Evo foam. And so I bought a Dremel, a sander, like 5 rolls of Evo foam, Evo putty, a um uh uh a heat gun. I mean, I bought all the super glue. I bought all the wooden dowels. I bought all the special paint that doesn't erode the styrofoam. I bought all of this stuff, and it came out to way more than I should have spent. And I have to this day only made one sword, and it was about that long.
I'd hate to break it to you, buddy. I don't think that's a sword.
Yeah,
I
no.
think that's a wee dagger.
Yeah, no, right. Oh my gosh, and it's still sitting in my garage. I I think so what it was is when I actually so you're watching these people. It's kind of like building a car. Like you're watching somebody and you're like, "Oh, dude, that looks so fun. It looks so easy." You forget they have an entire garage with nothing in it but tools. They have all this free space to make a giant mess and they can clean it up whenever they want or they have other people clean it up because it's their shooting set, right? When I was using that dowel or that the shoot, what's it called? It's not a lathe, but it looks like a little pen that has a
Dremel.
rotating tip on it that
Dremel.
sands a Dremel. Yes, okay. So when I was using that Dremel on the Evo foam, when I was done, the foam was black. Okay, and I did this at an apartment complex on my balcony. Okay, it was everywhere. It was all over my face. It was all over my arms. It was everywhere, and I had to sweep it. And I lived on the third story, so
Ooh.
I'm just like, I really
Your
hope this
neighbors are
isn't
like, it's
getting into.
snowing.
Yeah, it's like, is something on fire? Because there's like black ash falling from the sky right now. But okay, so that was my first experience with that. But dude, this person was making like these giant orcish battle axes and making like giant oversized anime weapons from like the Final Fantasy series and from like different animes that I was interested in. And I was just like, this is so up my alley. Like, I would love to just not build it and use it, but just build it and have it as a piece of decoration, you know?
I love it. I'm
But
Let's do it.
oh,
Let's
dude,
do
I
it.
was so disappointed in myself. So anyway,
Do you still have
that
all that stuff?
was I do. I do.
Yeah, don't get rid of it.
And yeah. Oh man, yeah, yeah, so that was just one of those prime examples of just seeing something, thinking it's a great idea that you're going to have all the time in the world to master that craft and just jumping into it and then realizing that you're just not interested in it. You're not interested in it in a way that you're willing to give up your free time and put in the extra effort. I mean, it really is the extra effort that makes it a hobby.
Okay.
It's when you take away from something else in order to give this specific thing attention or money or time
Yeah.
that really makes it worth it, you know?
So
And
You
Yeah,
telling
go
me
ahead.
that story
Mm-hmm.
reminded me of one just like it.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I had that lame golf story. Like, yeah, that happened, but I didn't spend that much money. Now,
Mm-hmm.
one that I've spent way more money and I got more out of it to be fair, but I also haven't in a year probably now.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've talked about it either. You might have seen some of my stuff on Instagram, but woodworking.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a freaking miter saw. I got a skill saw. I got uh, a whole bunch of tools, right? Tons of tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got a homie that was getting into it too. He got a planer, two
Mm-hmm.
planers, a hand planer and like a bench planer, like a six hundred
Mm-hmm.
dollar bench planer.
Yeah.
And we got all these plans where it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna hang out like once a week, which turned out it was once every other week or more because like that doesn't
Yeah.
work. And
Oh yeah.
then when we did get together, it was like, oh, we made this thing and it's really kind of poop. And we thought this was gonna be easy. You know, we're watching people on YouTube do it,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, we can make
Oh,
one of those.
dude. Oh yeah. Easy.
And then
Easy.
we're sitting there like, did you measure this?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, I measured it three
Oh
times.
damn.
Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't fit, you know, and it was that whole thing. And
Yeah.
we
Oh
built a
man.
workbench
Mm-hmm.
and like getting prepared, like in preparation to do all these crazy projects, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then like the first couple projects we did were a cutting board that was somewhat of a failure,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a nightstand that was somewhat of a
Uh-huh.
failure. You know, like it just expectations versus reality
Yeah.
were way off.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And that's exact I know exactly, relating to that whole, foam craftsmanship stuff
Yeah.
is, yeah, they make it look like all you have to do is just sand it in one certain spot and but
Bam,
they're
sword.
taking measurements. Yeah, and it is a lot more difficult than you
Yeah.
think. So, yes. So, let's say, so there's two subjects that I want to talk about. One
Okay.
is what hobbies you're pursuing, and two is unlimited budget, unlimited time. I mean, obviously anybody could say I would love if I had unlimited money to like know what it's like to run a corporation, right? Or to own a Bugatti or something like crazy like that. But I'm talking about something with within your like realm of possibilities, but still like without the restriction of money, without the restriction of time, something reasonable, something that you feel would be suited to your personality, something that you'd love to do. So, starting with a couple examples of ideal hobbies. Go.
I One of the things that I would pursue, I think that's what you started with, was
Mm-hmm.
um I really want to make videos
Mm-hmm.
really badly. I don't know
Yes.
why. I'm not creative enough, I don't think. I would love to just be someone's cameraman and like if they were the personality and we could make a YouTube channel and I could just be the tech guy that likes all the gear because that's what I like. I like gear,
Mm-hmm.
like camera
Yeah.
pieces and stuff. You know,
Yeah, definitely.
I would love to just pursue that, even to the point where it wasn't a hobby, like an actual career someday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the other one, kind of in a similar aspect, and I'm sure that we'll cover this in other podcast episodes in the future too, but weird thing I got into in the YouTube rabbit hole, okay? And I just can't help it. I want to do it. I want to try it. Is I want to get a mini excavator
Mm-hmm.
and a
Yeah.
skid steer and I want to go dig and move dirt and landscape
Yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't even
Yeah.
know what I want to do. It looks
Yeah.
cool. It looks dope. I want to try it.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, when you see an excavator like tear down an old building,
Yeah.
you're
Oh
just
yeah.
like,
Mm.
That is an experience that very few people will experience in their life because I mean, how many excavators, operators are there, and then how many are like tearing down buildings?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. Like there are just some experiences that are so interesting and niche. Like it's like those videos that you see on Instagram and on TikTok of people crushing things. Like, have you seen those videos
Oh
where
yeah.
somebody has like a giant press
Yeah.
and they
Oh yeah.
just crush like the most random things?
Yeah.
And the only
In
thing
slow
I can
motion.
think of, yeah, the only thing I can think of whenever I'm watching those videos is, dude, I got like 15 things that I want to crush right now, like
Should I put it in
within
the
arm's
comments?
reach. Like, yeah. So, and it's like, it's just something that you're just like, that would be so cool to do for that for that day,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, I've experienced it. I'd like to move on, you know, and so mine, when it
Okay.
comes to like unlimited budget and unlimited time, is, and it's the same thing as you. I saw somebody doing it on a video, and I was like, oh, dude, that is so cool. That'd be such a cool, and it's something unique. Um, it's paramotoring. So
I've seen
paramotoring,
this.
yeah. So
Yeah. Seen
paramotoring
it.
for people that don't know is essentially a giant fan that you have on your back and a it's not a parachute, but what would you call it? It's like a
Paraglider?
yeah, paraglider almost. So it's essentially a long skinny parachute, but because you have the wind coming off of the fan on the gas motor, it allows you to propel forward so that you can always stay in the air, kind of like a little airplane. So ever since I saw this guy, he had
That's
his
dope.
GoPros on. He had
Yeah.
one on his foot, he had one on his head, and he had one in his hand. And so you just see all this beautiful farmland. It was in the middle of summer. He's just looking at all the trees, and then I'm not even kidding, he landed in a McDonald's parking lot. I don't know how or why,
Dude, I swear I've
but
seen this video. I've seen this
yeah,
exact video. Yeah,
exactly.
that's exactly what
I'm
I was about to say.
I'm sure it was the same video. It's like I
It was
I
amazing.
was I was dead set on it,
Yeah.
but I found out that so I was researching this, right? So I found a class. It was $2,000 for 2 weeks,
Oof.
and you got X amount of flights, and then after that, you could buy a paramotor from them with a 20% discount for if you took the class versus if they sold it to you regular, right? So when I added that up with missing that much work, the numbers just
Mm.
didn't add up. So I was like, maybe this isn't for me. But,
Dude, that would be
we're
sick.
talking, dude, I'm telling you,
Ooh.
like, just having your own little personal airplane that's like, and paramotors, I mean, I've seen them as cheap as 4 grand. I mean, that's cheaper than my first car, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, not my first car, but like my first real purchased car,
Yeah.
you know. That is, it's about the same as like an ATV or a nice street bike. Like, I mean,
It's
4 grand
definitely
is not
doable.
out of the,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
out of the realm of possibility, and so when you look at hobbies where the entry is like 20 grand, I mean, that's something that's like, okay, I don't know if I would ever save up money and just throw that away at a hobby that I don't even know if I'd like, you know? But something like riding dirt bikes or ATVs or getting like a giant dune buggy to go sanding at the beach or something, I mean, they hold their value for the most
Yeah.
part. So if you get one used, you sell it used for 1,000 less, and you're not out too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So those kind of hobbies are nice. Those kind of hobbies are cool when you are using a piece of equipment that can be resold for the same value or at a slight discount. But there are some hobbies that you do not get
Sure
that
are.
luxury because it is a one and done.
Oh yeah.
So
So
yes,
one thing you could just keep bringing up like memories of like things that I would love to do.
yeah, definitely.
So the paragliding thing. Obviously, we watched the same video. So maybe
Hmm.
you fell down the same rabbit hole I did. Maybe
Yeah.
not. But another one similar ish. I believe it's called a bush plane.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically just like a 2-man private plane. You go get your
Mm-hmm.
private like pilot's license and you can just fly wherever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys like land in like the bush, like anywhere, like random places,
Yeah.
like fields that's like, public land or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just land in the most beautiful places and remote like lakes and stuff and go camping and then take off in the morning and fly home.
Yeah.
People
Dang.
do that? That's
Yeah.
amazing. I need to get into
Okay.
that.
Did you ever look up any prices?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's not cheap. It's not paragliding cheap.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's slightly out of the realm of possibility.
I
It could
know, right?
happen. Like it's kind of a little more of a pipe dream. Like it could happen, but it would
Mhm.
require me to be in a different place in life than I am right now, So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
it's but it looks so cool just being able to
I
fly
know.
around and
Yeah.
it's
Anything in the air. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure you and me have both seen deep sea diving videos and thought, dude,
oh yeah.
scuba tank on my back, freaking dive down there, check out all the cool stuff that nobody else gets to see. Like, yeah, that looks cool. But there's
Oh, it sure
something
does.
about flying.
Yeah.
There's something about being up there in the air and just like the peacefulness,
Yeah.
the freedom that
It
you
sounds
feel. Like,
cliche, but it's like being a bird. Yeah, like the being free.
yeah,
I
and
agree.
just that looming feeling in the back of your head that you could just crash and explode into a giant ball of fire at any moment.
That's 100% true. You see it all the time on like the news and stuff, and it's like, do I want to be a ball of fire? I think I like being a ball of meat.
Yeah. A ball of living meat,
Yeah,
just to be
living
clear.
meat. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So yeah. Yeah, cool. So then right now, what are some hobbies that you have done in, let's just say, the last month? Like, even just small things, um different games, different things that you've built, things that even research, like whatever it is. Like, what are some hobbies that you're into now?
Most of them are on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a rough few months. I haven't had a lot of free time. I've been spending my free time just playing video games, so nothing new. Been playing
Mm-hmm.
World of Warcraft like always.
Definitely.
Um, Diablo 4 came out, played that a little bit. The season started, haven't played since the season started, unfortunately. Baldur's Gate 3 just came out.
Mm.
Been playing that a little bit. Um, and that's kind of been my free time, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Haven't really gotten into anything new or tried or even been spending a lot of time on the hobbies I was before. What about
Yeah.
you?
For me, I mean, I've been playing Magic for a long time. I mean, I learned only a year before I met you, and then when I taught you. So me and you have basically been playing the same amount of time, about 10 years. And so I made it a thing that every other week, every other Wednesday, for the most part, I've been pretty faithful, to go meet with some friends at a card shop, because it's one thing to like buy stuff for a hobby
Mm-hmm.
and it be for personal use. Like, you buy a camera lens, you buy a camera zoom, you buy a new camera all in general. Like, that's something that you can enjoy by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you go buy, like, and it's not a perfect example, but I mean, like, things for your disc golf, whether it's a new caddy or it's a, new gear, or it's a new, disc, like, you, it's something that you want to experience with other people. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's it's just a hobby that is more enjoyable with more people. And so when it comes to Magic, I wanted to have a reason to spend money on it. I wanted to have like a validation for
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending this money because I enjoy the game, and I'm enjoying the game on a regular schedule with these people, so that I have something to look forward to, that I can, justify spending that kind of money, because I do enjoy the game a lot. It's really fun. It's really variable, but I don't want to buy cards, for this game that I don't ever play with any of my friends.
Yeah.
So,
So Magic for me, like, is always been about the people. Like, don't get me
mhm,
wrong, deck building, strategy, like, we've gotten really deep, really hard into like the rules and like interactions between effects on cards and stuff like that. But like, that's all fun. But with people is like the
mhm,
asterisk for me.
yeah,
I know that's kind of what you're saying, but at the same time, like, there's like Magic Arena.
mhm,
Everybody always asks me, why don't you play Magic Arena? It's online for those of you who don't know. It's like an app that you get to play Magic the Gathering with people online.
mhm,
That's takes the people aspect out of it for me personally, like completely. I don't care about the person on the other side. You know, it's just to play the game. And I love the game, but I'd rather play with people, friends in
mhm.
person and talk smack back and forth and like,
Yeah,
it's more fun. And so like
yeah,
so for us, we played what? Almost every freaking day for
yeah,
years. We played a
yeah,
lot of Magic. I mean,
definitely.
we didn't go a week without playing for years.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
recently, like, you've had this ability to try to play every other Wednesday or whatever and get together with the homies and play a little bit. And for me
mhm,
it was there was like a lull kind of after you moved,
mhm,
and I moved as well shortly after that, um, where I didn't have anybody to play with really. And then finally there was a couple people at work that said, "Oh, you're interested in Magic? Me too." Okay, so we started playing at work, and that was a lot of fun.
mhm,
It also led to spending way too much money on Magic.
mhm.
I got a
Yep.
freaking a box so we we went to like Home Depot and bought one of those rigid boxes, right? It's like a
Uh-huh.
toolbox with like little containers for all your screws and crap. So it's
Yeah.
got like 9
Little compartments.
little like perfect deck box size things.
Yeah.
And so we a couple of us got those. In fact, I think everybody at work got one of those, and so we all had like commander decks, like 9 of them, plus a
Yeah.
mat and dice and everything in this little box.
Yeah.
We went hard on it.
Yeah.
Recently, I haven't been able to play though. It's kind of been lame.
Yeah.
My box has just been sitting here collecting
Staring
dust.
at you. Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
definitely is probably one of my all-time, like I was talking about earlier, disc golf. Played for about the same amount of time. I really, really would never give up disc golf. I would never give up Magic. I love Magic.
Mhm. Oh
But
yeah.
again, because of the people, back to your
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
I there's a lot of hobbies that kind of the people portion is like the validation for me,
Yeah.
like you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and to speak to the online aspect, I'm not gonna lie, I did spend some money on Magic Arena, playing online, with people you just randomly paired with.
Mm-hmm.
There's no interaction. You don't get to know who they are. There's only quick chat, so you can't like type freely to your opponent, which is for the best, because then you can't talk smack to them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are, but anyway, long story short, and this is where it's like our personalities differ, and that's all
Mm-hmm.
right. Is for me, I have a short attention span. It's something that I've always dealt with my whole life. And so having the option to jump into a very calculated, difficult, frustrating, um, and fun and enjoyable experience of Magic, the game that I love, on the go whenever I
Mm-hmm.
want, I can be in a game in less than 2 minutes. And that is what's appealing to me about it.
Yeah, fair
And
enough.
so, yes, I honestly, dude, like talking with my friends, you know, and sometimes it's not even stuff that's Magic related. It's just being around people and talking about work, talking about your life, all this stuff, like that part of the community aspect of the game is definitely something that is very awesome about it. But when I'm just craving the strategy part, when I'm just
Mm-hmm.
I'll think of new deck ideas and I can just pull up my entire digital collection on my phone while I'm taking a dump at work and I can just build a deck, you know? And yeah, it sucks crap and I lose, but whatever, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah,
know?
I think for me
So,
the reason I have come to the conclusion that it's not for me
mm,
isn't so much that it's just not people, like the people or whatever. It's that because there's no people and because I have so many other hobbies that I'm always trying to do,
mhm,
that I take those opportunities to do those things in
yeah,
the in between, you know. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's definitely I definitely love, like, the strategy is so big for me. We
mhm,
found like apps and things that we use to like deck build, and I'll sit there and I think in the first 6 months of having the app, I think I made like 50 decks,
yeah,
not
yeah.
exaggerating, and I probably bought like 10 of them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it's definitely something that me and you are passionate about. Definitely something that me and you enjoy. We have a long history with it, you know. I think that hobbies are important, right? I think that there are a lot of people that don't get that luxury of having expensive hobbies or hobbies that are driven by money. You know, scuba diving equipment's expensive. You know,
Hmm.
paramotoring's expensive, surfing's expensive. I mean, these are things that have gatekeepers to that hobby, and that's money, right? But there are a lot of hobbies that are free. There's a lot of hobbies that in some respects pay for themselves or are readily available for everyone to enjoy with you know family members or other people that you know that have those items that you can borrow. Like there are other options out there, and I think that a hobby is something that you can choose for yourself that's unique to you, or something that you see a lot of other people enjoy that you want to enjoy too. That it's like a creative outlet, right? For all the crap that you deal with during your work week. And I'm speaking from a a plumber's perspective. Like I'm speaking from a regular Joe 9 to 5. Like I'm not talking about somebody that was handed a silver spoon, and I'm talking about somebody that 9 to 5, wife and kids. Hobbies to me are an outlet, not just for like creativity, but just for relaxation and almost like pride. Like I'm
Yeah.
proud of my retro game collection. There are
Oh
some
yeah.
games that I have that are very expensive, and I found them at very good deals. I look at my shelves of games and my shelves of consoles are moments in history frozen in a box, right? It's like this was the bee's knees, the top of the line, the absolute like cream of the crop console when it was first came out 15 years ago, 20
Yeah.
years ago, 25 years ago. And having that for me personally, like it's not like universal to all hobbies, but I'm just saying that for me personally, that's what I get out of it.
Yeah.
I get
It's
out of it uh, uh not just a collection, but just like, something physical that I can look at that I enjoy looking at, you know.
it's it's something that like kind of identifies who you are. Like
Mhm.
it's you choose hobbies, like you said, to try to enjoy, and it's kind of your story, your identity, you know.
Mhm.
And that's how it is. You don't identify as like, oh, I'm the guy that goes to work 9 to 5. Like, oh yeah, so do we all. But you know, like, what do you
Yeah.
do for fun? That's you.
Yeah.
That's who you are, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I wanted to kind of roll back on real quick was you were talking about how not all hobbies, you know, or not everybody can spend a bunch of money on hobbies. And there's
Mm-hmm.
different ways to get into different hobbies and stuff. And just as an example of that, one of the hobbies I got into pretty heavily for a little while was car detailing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get into it because I was trying to make money. I wanted to do it because it was fun and I enjoyed it and I wanted my car to look perfect all the time.
Definitely.
How do you do that? I don't know. I've always gone to the car wash and sprayed it off and hope for the best, you know? How do I
Mm-hmm.
make my car look perfect? So I start going down the rabbit hole, you know? And I realize, like,
Yeah.
dang, this is cool. I want to get into this.
Mm-hmm.
So you think to yourself, well, that sounds expensive. It was not cheap. But to
Mm-hmm.
get into that hobby, I would clean somebody's car.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody at work, a friend, family, charge them mediocre, you know, nothing compared to a
Yeah.
detail shop, but just something. And then I would spend that money on more detailing supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would do another car for somebody and spend that on detail supplies. So I have a whole collection of detailing chemicals, machines, uh, everything you could, almost anything you could want for detailing.
Mm-hmm.
And I broke even. I didn't spend any money,
Yeah.
not a dime.
Yeah.
I didn't make any money
Mm-hmm.
because I spent all of it back into it. But my point is like if there's a hobby that seems unobtainable for you, something that you're like, oh man, I couldn't get into that. Think about maybe trying to do something like that. Trying
Mm-hmm.
to, and I'm saying this to the viewers more than Anthony, but uh, listeners, I guess. But like, think about trying to like, can you somehow squeeze your way into it by spending very little money or borrowing stuff or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe try to make like if it's photography, try to make a little bit of money. Buy that lens just for your
Mm-hmm.
personal use. I just want to take pictures of my dogs, you know?
Definitely.
Well, if you could make a little bit of money doing some side work for somebody and then to improve your hobby without having to break the bank and, you know, oh, I need a pay raise to be able to afford that hobby. No,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you can find another way in.
Yeah.
So that was just a little something I
Yeah,
did.
definitely. Yeah, no, that's very unique, and you know, it's hard to make money when you're buying Warhammer 40K models. So it's very
Unless you can
cool.
paint them in some super
I
creative
know,
way,
right?
but you're
Yeah.
not making as much money as you do going to work.
Yeah, I know, right? So, and then, like paddleboarding, paramotoring, disc
Hey,
golfing, there,
stop
yes,
ripping
there are
apart my.
hobbies. Huh?
I said, stop ripping apart my idea.
No, no, no. I'm saying that's very cool. That's very cool that your hobby, that your passion, at least for that moment, was something that was able self-sustainable, right?
Yeah.
It was it was something that, I mean, I'm sure we've all thought of it. If I spend enough money on opening magic packs, eventually I'll hit that $300 card that I can sell and
Still
make
haven't
all
hit
my
it.
money
It's been
back.
10 years.
Yeah, I know, right? So no, dude, that's awesome. There's definitely, you get into scuba diving and then all of a sudden you become an instructor and you're giving tours, right? And then you get to use your hobby to put money back into your hobby to buy better equipment for yourself or whatever. Like there, but like I said, there's like not all hobbies are like that. If you're an
Yeah, no, for
artist,
sure.
you can sell your art. You can teach people how to paint. You can teach people how to draw. There, like, hobbies can make you money if you have the right mindset, and so it makes those less likely obtainable goals more obtainable,
Yeah.
right? If you put forth the effort, like you did. And so that's just kind of a what do you call it? A word of encouragement, I guess, to
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
listening, that your hobby doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be something absolutely crazy, but it is important, right? It is important. Take some time for yourself to just zone out, relax, and just do something that makes you genuinely happy, right? And you got to take those times for yourself, and not everybody can. Some people are in unique situations that they just cannot break away, and I get that.
Oh yeah.
And I wish those people the best, but I'm just saying that the average person that has thought about getting into a hobby, this is like that motivation to see something that you are interested in and just go for it, within reason. I'm not saying go and buy $3,000 worth of, scuba equipment or hiking gear, you know, and break the bank, but I'm saying that there are a lot of different alternatives to get that enjoyment out of life. You only get this one life,
Yeah.
and those years behind you, they're gone. So at least make it something nice to remember, you
Yep.
know. So,
And we as human beings typically spend a lot of our free time kind of squandered.
mhm.
Uh, Maybe not every person, but I know I'm guilty. I consider myself a hobbyist. I get into freaking everything,
Yeah.
but I still squander my free time sometimes, and I'll just doom scroll or
Yeah.
go down the rabbit hole of YouTube, which most of the YouTube I watch is somewhat educational or whatever, anyways. But
Mhm.
not all of it. And people watch TV, whatever it is. If hobbies are what defines you, try to spend time, try to put in the effort. Try to get good at
Mhm.
what it is that you're doing, and you'll get you'll feel the passion of it. You'll feel good about it. You know,
Mhm.
if you didn't spend as much time as you did looking for, retro consoles and stuff, you wouldn't have such a good collection that you can be proud of and look at and say,
Yeah.
dang, like those collections don't just appear. I mean, yeah, if you have
Mhm.
like a ton of money and you just bought a collection from someone else, but
Mhm.
like building it yourself is like part of what you're proud of. You
Yeah.
put in the effort and the time, and that's any hobby. Put in the effort, put in the time, maybe don't waste as much of your free time doing piddly nothingness, like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
put your effort into your hobbies, and you'll get I promise you're gonna get enjoyment out of it.
Yeah.
Even all the
And
hobbies that I failed at, I've gotten enjoyment while I tried.
yeah, definitely. And that's just a little side note on that is my my retro game console collection. I I enjoy playing games, you know? I was playing a lot of games in my free time, and although I did get enjoyment out of it, it's like I'm enjoying this, and then the moment's gone when I'm done and I shut it off. So, I took that, and now I'm recording my gameplay and I'm making YouTube videos. And so I'm reviewing these games. I'm, you know, looking through my footage. I'm editing the videos. I'm learning how to video edit, how to use DaVinci Resolve, how to do voice recording. And it all stems from my original hobby, right? Playing
Yeah.
video games. But now it's played for a purpose, you know? And so for me personally, I played RuneScape. I played so many hours. So many hours. I have over 40 accounts, all of them different builds. And anyway, it's it's always been something that I look back on and I say, yes, I did get enjoyment out of it at the time, and I don't regret that. But what I will regret is if I waste these years of me being stable, these years of me having, money, me being able to take care of my family and having this extra time and being able to create something, even if I was making RuneScape videos or something, but I was just sitting in my room by myself for hours, and it's time that I could have been spent learning how to video edit or recording other stuff or, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I gave it up. And that's it's not for everybody, you know. If video games makes you happy, then awesome. I'm saying that I have played more other video games other than RuneScape now that I
Yeah.
gave it up than I have ever before. And that was because I'm using my time to still do what I love. I mean, still play video games, but it's for a different purpose, right?
Yeah.
It's for a different reason, and
So,
it achieves a different goal.
yeah. I think that having some sort of added benefit or different an some sort of benefit other than just doing the hobby
Mm-hmm.
can add a ton of value. So, like for example, me trying to do detailing and trying to make money from people so that I can buy my stuff so that I can detail my car. It was also I did it for people at work and friends and family so that like they could sell vehicles or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And so they're getting like I feel good that I'm helping someone out
Yep.
or whatever, not just like some random people on the street that I'm making money off of. It's like I'm helping somebody I know to accomplish something they need.
Mm-hmm.
Or photography, for example. I bought a printer. Printing your photography is like the number one thing I could like recommend for photographers. It,
Mm-hmm.
most people nowadays, they just, phones are so good. They just take pictures on their phone and they just, scroll. Oh man, that's really cool. That's a tiny screen. I
Yeah.
invested heavily into photography and printing and whatnot. And I've got a really nice computer display that I view them on and edit them on now. And being able to see them in like their full glory has
Mm-hmm.
been another thing that's just added so much to it. But
Mm-hmm.
printing and being able to put it on the wall for people to see and ask, oh man, that's a cool picture. Did you take that? I sure did. I was here with this guy, and it
Yeah.
brings up like it's like a conversation
Yeah.
conversation starter, but it also brings back those good memories and continues
Yeah.
them. So same thing with
Just
like
about
your
to
YouTube
say.
videos.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's really good. Um. Yeah. I mean, hobbies have definitely been a big part of my life, and I look forward to jumping into more and experiencing more. And honestly, like even some hobbies that you don't have to they don't have to be a continuous thing, you know? Like for me, I'm sure it's on a lot of people's bucket list is skydiving and bungee jumping. Like you don't
Just try
have
it.
to do
Yeah.
it all the time as your hobby. It's just an experience, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's things like that. Um, Going in a hot air balloon, that would be amazing, you know? Um,
Yeah.
just I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah, so you get it. There's all kinds of different things that you want to experience, and it's cool because you get to experience somebody else's effort, somebody else's uh expertise and profession,
Hmm.
and
Their passion.
a guide takes you out on the river and you're like, wow, I get to be out on the river. This guy's telling me all about the river, all about the ecosystem, all about the history of the land, all the history of the animals that live here and all this stuff. And it's like that is cool that you get to peer into his world and what he's passionate about without having to dive yourself into it. You get to just like a little peek. It's like going to a car show, you get to a little peek into everybody's, what they really enjoy about their cars, but you don't have to dive into it yourself. So it's definitely really cool to see other people passionate about different things and just seeing people happy. I think that one of the coolest things is your father-in-law and his geos. Like that, just the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that he knew all of the different
Oh,
names, all
he
the
is
different types.
a passionate man.
Yeah, that was amazing. And that was really fun to like peer into that world, and just see somebody that recognizes everything, knows what everything's called without me having to like dive into that. You just
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, you know what I mean. So,
It's
but
it's definitely something to think about as we say, the hobbies are kind of what defines you. That's who you are. The people around you have their hobbies, their passions, the things that they're into. And
Mm-hmm.
that thing you might not have any interest in at all, not even in the slightest. But
Mm-hmm.
if you can help just support those people around you that you care about, and just ask them some questions, or just tickle their fancy, you know what I mean? Like, just
Oh yeah.
give them a little support in the things that they love to do. You don't have to get
Yeah.
into that hobby. You don't have to do that. You don't have to talk about it a lot, but just
Mm-hmm.
give them a little bit of encouragement and stuff. That think about when you're in something,
Mm-hmm.
when you make a YouTube video, when I take a photo, when someone tells me, "Oh, that's a really cool photo," that just that makes my hobby. I do it for
Mm-hmm.
myself, but when people tell me that it's cool, it's like it's gratifying. It's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
man, you think it's cool too? Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk
Yeah.
about it, but like it made me feel good. So if the people around you
Yeah.
are passionate about something, try to throw them a bone.
Yeah.
Make them know that whatever they're doing and whatever they're passionate about is worth it. Like you mentioned at the beginning of the video, like lowriders and stuff. That was an easy one for me to mention as well. Like I've never really been into lowriders, or whatever. I've always been into the JDM things, cars as well, but I can really appreciate the passion that goes into those.
Mm-hmm.
The pinstriping, the paint, the interiors. It's amazing, and just let them know,
Yeah.
hey man, that's a
Yeah.
freaking cool whip you got there. And then
Yeah.
that's it. You don't have to be into it. You
Yeah.
just support them.
Yeah. One of the things that just kind of go off of that is I have a brother-in-law that's really into guns, and I swear every time I'm around him, I ask him every single question that you can possibly think of about what does the caliber mean, and what does this number mean, and what does this type of material mean, and what is the heavy load, and what is a light load, and what is a hollow point, and all this different stuff. Um, why do they call it that? And he's telling me all the things that he wished that he could have, all the things that he just bought, like muzzle muzzle brakes, and different cartridges that he's bought, and stocks and stuff, and sights. Like, he's got tons of sights. So it's funny because for Christmas I actually bought him a crossbow, and he's like, "Dude, I've always wanted one of these." And I was like, "Yeah, man, this thing's freaking sweet." And then I was like, "Dude, I really want one," but he has property and I don't. So,
Fair
uh,
enough.
you
It's a
know,
little weird when you're in your backyard in the city.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
don't worry about me. It's just my crossbow. Oh, Chihuahua, it's dead. No, whoops.
yeah. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think that's an awesome point to make, is that talking to somebody about their hobby, talking to somebody about their passion, it really is a great feeling,
Yeah.
because even if it's not something that you'd consider doing, just seeing the look on their face when you know, somebody's asking their opinion about something that they're really into, and it's a good feeling. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's just a good feeling. And so, yeah, if you see somebody that's passionate about it, and ask questions and inquire, and it really validates their efforts to make them have that sense of joy of, this is something that I know, something that I my time and effort, and I can teach somebody something and give them a little peek into this world. So yeah, definitely a good point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that wraps up this episode of
Yeah. We've got a lot of
the
good content here.
the Aaron and Anthony show.
Yeah.
So, ideas for the next episode.
Shoot. I'm not the ideas guy. You're the ideas guy.
I'm the
I've
ideas guy.
decided.
All right.
I've decided you're the ideas guy.
Okay. The next one
Oh.
is going to be about jobs.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm talking about the worst of the worst that you've had, the best of the best that you've had, which
Okay.
most likely will be our current jobs,
Yep.
people that you know that have either made poor decisions or have worked crappy jobs, and people that you know or strive to be like that have really good positions or positions that you've heard about that you think are obtainable within your line of work.
Maybe some
So,
advice for others in their job endeavors.
exactly. Yes, exactly. And
Okay.
I have
Okay.
some. I know that you have some. There's tons of advice in our fields that we can give that are, it's just sound advice. It's just sound advice that we've lived through,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very informative, right? So yes, next
Yeah.
episode is gonna be jobs,
I like it.
both wishful thinking and hard lessons.
Yep. I like it. I like it.
So,
Sounds
all
like a
right,
good
cool.
topic.
Definitely. So
Well,
this is Anthony signing off. I don't know. How do you want to end this? Go ahead. Say the intro or say the outro. Go.
so I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let us know, give us some feedback. We're just here, two buddies hanging out, and
Yeah.
we plan on continuing to do so. So if you got ideas for topics, if you any feedback, like I said, let us know. But it's been a good time. Thanks for hanging out, Anthony.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, bro. Take care.
All right. See you guys later.